Hey everybody, Dr. Ed Gigliotti here. If you've ever had the pleasure of being under care here, or we've ever had the pleasure of caring for you, if you follow us on social media, you might realize that we use a lot of high-end technology at our office to find out how to serve you and your families best. One of them being, it's one of the first things you experience when you come in for a visit too, is these scanners here, okay? This is called a Tytron C-5000. What it is a very sensitive thermography scanner. So it checks temperature to fractions of a degree, from the bottom of your neck to the top of your neck. The reason why that's important is the temperature in your neck is all determined off of blood flow, which is determined on how the blood vessels are operating. The blood vessels throughout your whole body, especially your neck, are controlled by the brainstem. So this test here allows us to assess on how the body is functioning and how the nervous system is regulating. And as we all know, we are only as healthy as our brain can communicate with our body. So this is a really important test. That's why we take it every visit to find out, can there be nerve interference and could there be pressure on the system, not allowing your body to be as healthy as it should be. Okay? So to explain this technology, because I want to explain it in just a couple minutes, it's really cool. I want to explain another piece of medical technology which is widely used, especially with high-end athletes, and is really cool. And the philosophy and what it's measuring is very similar to our Tytron C-5000. So like there's almost direct overlaps in a lot of characteristics of the two devices. So it's really cool. You may have heard of it before. It's called heart rate variability. So to explain heart rate variability, what I'm going to do is I'm literally going to read the definition of it. What it is, heart rate variability, or HRV for acronym, measures the variation in time intervals between heartbeats. Rather than a steady, uniform rhythm, a healthy heart shows a slight variability in these intervals, reflecting the body's ability to adapt to changing conditions. Okay? So it literally measures the autonomic nervous system's adaptability. All right? So you would think that every time your heart beats, it should be the same. Like there should be 1 second in between each heartbeat. What science knows, and like I said, this is used a lot in athletics, but in a lot of different realms in the medical community, is that the more variable, like this picture below, where it's like 0.9 seconds in between one heartbeat, and then it goes 1.2 seconds, and then it goes 0.95, and then it goes 1.3. That is actually a relaxed and healthier functioning cardiovascular system and nervous system than the alternative, which is above, where it's like directly 1 second above. This would actually be someone that's like not healthy. Now, a lot of times you could make some, there could be some characteristics, like maybe they live a sedentary lifestyle. They're not moving as much as they should. They could be overweight. It could be smoking. It could be an injury to the central nervous system, because there's actually a lot of upper cervical docs that use heart rate variability to find how the body is functioning and how it's improving when people are under care. Really cool, okay? So an adaptable heartbeat where it's changing, a variable heartbeat where it's changing in between each beat, time-wise, is actually a healthier nervous system, all right? Theoretically, it's because the body is now adapting to the environment and changing the heartbeat accordingly, all right? Now remember that. Adaptability is health. And one major component of adaptability is how your brain can communicate with your body. So that's why we take these scans every time, because you could feel better. You could maybe not feel changes yet, but we want to know, how is the physiology changing? Is the body healing, and is it operating better, or is it not? And this type of testing, like heart rate variability, gives us a window in on how the body is functioning. It's like, you could be happy, you could be sad, like there's a lot of different variables, but the testing is what matters to determine, is the body actually functioning better, okay? When I mean happy, sad, it's that emotions can come and go throughout life. There's different things. We could feel a little bit more tired, we could feel a little sore, but how is the body functioning? Is the body healing from the inside out? Is it adapting at a higher level? Okay, got me? So now I'm going to show you what we see on our end with the Tytron scanners, the Tytron C-5000. All right, and this technology too is not cheap. We we invest in this. We have a few of them in the office because it's so important to get the best results for you and your families. That's why we do it. The precision is so important with this. So this is what it looks like. This here is what we see on our end of the screen. This here is Dr. Brian's scans, okay? I got permission to use them. So when you come in for the first visit, we establish a pattern, it's called. So that's when we run multiple of these scans back to back. If there is an injury to the central nervous system, right, the autonomic nervous system, what you'll see is a pattern emerging. It's almost like with that heart rate variability where it may be exactly 1 second in between each heartbeat, or maybe it's very close to 1.1 seconds in between each heartbeat, but that's their pattern when their body's under high stress. What you'll see here is each one of these lines is a different scan that we took. But this red one here, it's red because when we took one in 6/13, so June 13, 2013, that's the pattern we locked. All of them were looking like that, okay? So we started to see this is the bottom of the neck, this is the top, where it would veer out like this. It would be a little bit warmer on the left side as opposed to the right. Then it would get a little warmer on the right. The blue's the delta zero, where it's not warmer on right or left, okay? This blue one here, okay? Then it would go a little bit warmer on the right, and then right at the top of the neck, it would go a little bit warmer on the left. So what we were seeing on Dr. Brian is that every time we would take the scans before he got his upper cervicals adjusted that day, or before he got adjusted upper cervically at our office, it kept locking in this pattern. There was not variability in between the scans every 10 to 15 seconds when we would take it. All right? Once we have that pattern established, then we're able to compare that with the 3D imaging to find out how are the vertebrae misaligned. Once we're able to start getting that adjusted accurately, we assess the function again to make sure we're seeing changes and improvements. A healthy body, like the healthy HRV, okay, what you will see is you will see constant changes in between. Just like you would see constant changes in the scans where one's maybe like this and then one's like that, okay? That's what you would see. So as we see the progression of Dr. Brian here, right? If you look at this one's from 3/14/2024. If you look at this one here, when we took the scan, look how different it looks here compared to this one here. You see how it looks just totally different in the direction of the lines. Like this is going like a backward C here, and this one actually looks like a C here. So it's much, much different. This was bowing out to the left at the bottom. This is now going straight at the bottom. You see that? That is highly variable. And the really cool thing is that when pressure is off of the nervous system, like it was in this capacity, showing that an upper cervical adjustment wasn't needed because the body's adapting at a high rate. The blood flow keeps changing and changing the temperatures. Every time we run the scan, it will look different. It'll be very challenging if even it's not possible to get a pattern locked. On the flip side, on this day, Dr. Brian needed an adjustment, okay? And you could start to see the patterns beginning to emerge. This was on 8/30, okay, August 30th. And if you look at this here. It goes up and to the left. It's like a backward C again. And look at this. You see that backward C, just like that, okay? Here, you see you got that C down at the bottom, and look, that pattern was locking right here. We were seeing it here also. Do you see that? So you start to see patterns emerge. There's a lot more complexity to that than just that. Us doctors were highly trained in looking at these. We've seen literally thousands of these scans and gone to hours and hours of training for this. But what you will start to see is that when pressure starts to manifest on the central nervous system again, you will start to see that the temperature in the neck starts to go back to that pattern. Or it's almost like a fingerprint. It's like unique to that person when there's pressure on the nervous system. But over here, when an adjustment was not needed, these two here, right? And this one here, you'll start to see that it looks different every single time we run it. Isn't that so cool? How our body is functioning determines our health. That's why this is so important. Now, what's really cool is these scans continue to adapt and function better because we're getting pressure off of the central nervous system. That goes hand in hand with people reporting over time, like, my life is getting so much better. I'm healing. I'm not having the migraines like I was having. I'm not having the vertigo. That chronic pain isn't happening anymore. My function's coming back. And it's like, think about it. if the hose is getting unkinked and the water is getting through to those plants, as time goes on, the plant starts growing. As you get pressure off of the central nervous system, and it's showing through this blood flow that we're measuring and the temperature in your neck that the brain's communicating better with the body, you see health as a byproduct. It's an amazing thing. Okay? Hope you found this helpful today. If you have any questions at future visits, please ask. It's really, really cool technology, and we might nerd out a little bit explaining, us and the other docs, because we love it. But it's so important for us to use this technology to get the best results for your care. You got it? And this technology has been around since 1924. If you look in our museum, we have some of the original equipment on it from the B.J. Palmer Clinic. It's been around since 1924. So it's like, we're talking like 100 years of research on this technology. It's improved dramatically with technology. Now it's infrared technology, all digital, as opposed to back in the day. For anybody who likes this type of stuff, mechanical stuff, it used to be thermocouple. So it's just way better technology and way more accurate. But the amount of research they've determined on how this can help change lives is dramatic. So this is why it's so important. This tells us when to adjust, okay? And if there could be pressure that day. And this gives us an indication. That's why with confidence we could say, hey, you're on the right track. Everything's looking good. We see these scans starting to change. We know that the body's functioning much better than it was before that first visit. All right? Love and appreciate you. Hopefully you have an awesome week and you have a great weekend, and we look forward to serving you soon. If you got any questions, ask at the next visit, and please share this message with others. Thank you.